So we're doing our annual boat surveys. We take students out and do coastal surveys, tow a hydrophone and do visual surveys to collect data. There's very little actual dedicated survey data around the south coast, and that data is really useful for understanding the distribution of marine mammals in this area, trying to map their habitat use and to estimate sort of relative abundance and numbers. So there are 7 species of cetacean, that's whales, dolphins and porpoises, that use this stretch of coastline, plus our native grey seal species as well. So we've got 8 species of marine mammal along our coastline.
So we're going along the whole of the south coast, which has just been identified as an important marine mammal area. And so we're going all the way from the Isles of Scilly to Sussex, and we're just seeing what cetaceans we come across. We're doing visual surveys, so the students are out looking out either side. So any cetacean that we spot, then we identify, we look at where it is in relation to the boat, the distance away, the angle. But we're also doing acoustic surveys as well. So we have a hydrophone, which is an underwater microphone, which we're trailing around 100 metres behind the boat, and that's listening out for cetaceans. So if they make any vocalisations, clicks, whistles, when they're communicating with each other or echolocating. And that helps particularly for the smaller cetaceans like harbour porpoises, which can be a little bit more tricky to see.
This is Take the Helm. This is the university sailing boat. When we do the surveys, we're on boat all the time, doing surveys during the day, coming into lovely anchorages at night. And the reason that we use a sailboat as well is it's a quiet platform, because dolphins and whales, porpoises especially, can be scared away by the noise of boats. So a survey platform which is very quiet makes a big difference.
Unfortunately, the Western Channel is one of the busiest pieces of coastline in Europe. It's one of the busiest shipping lanes in the world. It's one of the most sort of densely populated pieces of coastline. So you name it, there's all sorts of human activities. You've got things like fishing, you've got noise from shipping, you've also got recreational boat use in the summer, so there's a lot of people out on the water. That potentially can cause a source of disturbance to animals if people get too close to them. There's also pollution in the water.
And we really need to understand how many there are and where they are for understanding some of the threats. So for example, one of the biggest threats is bycatch. So they get caught in fishing nets. So if we know where they are, we can understand how we can manage them better. But also noise. So there's a lot of ships out there, they generate a lot of noise. So understanding how they overlap with noise, we can understand how they're impacted by some of these threats and being able to manage and mitigate them.
And all of these impacts are sort of like experienced together, and there is a burden of a cumulative sort of set of these threats that these animals have got to cope with. So it's really important that we try and look after them, and really one of the most fundamental things that we need to do in order to help look after them is conduct our scientific research, so we've got an idea of where they're found and how many animals there are and what are the potential exposures to some of the threats they face.
We've been running these surveys for quite a few years now, since 2017, so we're gradually getting a longer data set for being able to understand distributions over time. This summer we're doing more surveys than we've ever done before during the summer. We've got a PhD student who's going to be analysing all the data, and we will keep doing this as long as we can.